Yes, we proceed with intangible asset and IFRS 138. Okay, so this topic is basically focused on intangible asset only. So it is intangible. So, but right, the criteria or the main focus or the main criteria of this asset is it is intangible. In other words, they don't have a physical substance, right? So again, even though they don't have a physical substance, there is some other criteria that limit the MFRS 138. For example, MFRS 138 just did not cover monetary asset. Like for example, if we talk about intangible, investment are also intangible, right? Investment also don't have any tangible physical appearance. But investment is not fall under MFRS 138, which is intangible asset, because investment is monetary asset. So it is fall under different MFRS. Okay. So all right, intangible. If you see this chart actually, intangible can have a research and development, but research always go to write off. In other words, research can never be asset. Research will always become expenses. So while development, you can see here the arrow can go to capitalize, can become asset, and can become a write off. Right. So research and development is the only internally generated intangible asset, which is we focus on development, right? So, but right, actually, if you how do research and development function, right? So, if you want to sell a new things, actually, you need to do a research. For example, you want to sell a tudung, for example, you need to ask around what student need. For example, what tudung student need. That one is a research. You do questionnaire or you ask around. That is a research. So after you get to know the item that most student need, then you decide to develop the item, right? So that's why you decide to develop a tudung. So once you develop a tudung, uh, up until the tudung is willing to purchase by outsiders, willing to purchase by customer, then you can capitalize. But before that, if you design tudung, you ask around, people want to purchase or not, then people don't want to purchase, then it will go to write off and it will become an expenses. All right. So of course there is a criteria before we can just capitalize the asset. Okay. So again, you can see here, they have a cost model and revaluation model. In other words, cost model is similar to PPE, the one that you learn a lot of times. And a revaluation model is also similar to PPE, but the difference in intangible asset, they are going to have what we call as amortization, not depreciation, right? So never mind, we proceed first. Okay, so what is enterprise 138 cover? What is intangible asset? So intangible asset cover identification, recognition, and measurement, and presentation of intangibles. All right. So intangible asset are identifiable, non-monetary, as mentioned. Investment is not fall under enterprise 138 because investment is monetary asset. So it is non-monetary asset that have no physical substance. This is the main criteria, which is no physical substance, right? So standard deals generally on intangible, but excluding goodwill. Okay, guys, goodwill is not fall under intangible, which is it's not fall under MFRS 138 because goodwill is actually covered under MFRS 3 business combination. Again, goodwill is created because of business combination, not cover under MFRS 138. So every time when the question asks MFRS 138 intangible asset, did goodwill under this MFRS? No, the answer is always no, right? And including internally generated intangible classified research and development. If it is a research and development, it is covered. Yes, it is fall under this MFRS. But again, only development is can be capitalized, and that it's not 100% development can be capitalized, but only part of development can be capitalized if it meet the criteria, right? So intangible must have the following qualities, which is identifiable, control, and future economic benefit. Because we want to identify this asset as this item as asset. Okay, try to imagine intangible, tangible, something that don't have any physical substance. How you want to say that is your asset? You don't have a physical substance to prove that that is your asset, right? But you know that we have that asset, right? That's the thing, lah. Okay, all right. So identifiable. First criteria is identifiable. It is separable, for example, capable of being separated or removed from the entity, which can be sold, licensed, or entered or exchanged either individually or together with related contract, asset or liability, or arise from contractual or other legal right. Okay. In other words, if you have this, you can sold, you can license this, you can enter into the exchange of this. Again, you can market this actually if you have this. So how to say your intangible can be marketed to this? All right. So these are the things. Okay. Control. Control is present if the entity has power to obtain a future economic benefit flowing from the underlying resource and restrict others of having access to this benefit. Okay. Have you go through this situation where a bundle, right? For example, bundle shop, they sell Nike that is not Ori. Is it possible if the Nike company sue this company? Possible or not? Yes, possible, right? Because Nike have the right for this design. So if any other company copy their design, then Nike can sue this company, right? If you have a design anything, for example, you design a new tudung, for example, shawl, for example, the shawl that have a magnet that can you just put in your head and they can just because they have magnet, for example, they can just pusing and become a shawl itself, right? If you're able to innovate this shawl, then you did not register for any patent, you did not register for any license for this shawl, for the design. Other people look into the design and other people copy the design. So other people can have the design as their own. You can ask them to, so you boleh lah buat video nangis-nangis cakap orang tu tiru you, orang tu tiru, but then you cannot summon, you cannot sue that person because you don't have right. Unless you registered. So that patent is yours. So if other people try to copy, then you can sue that people. That is what you mean by that right, that patent is yours. You see, even though you cannot see in the physical substance, the patent itself, but you can seal that patent. Legal right that enforceable, that court may indicate the control actually. So entity may derive economic benefit from skilled worker, market share and customer list, but no control over them. So if you have a skilled worker, kan orang selalu cakap kan, company pekerja yang ambil adalah asset company. But is it really the asset of the company? But we don't have control to the asset of the company, right? We don't have control to the skilled worker. Kalau saya, contohnya saya pekerja cemerlang UiTM kan, adakah saya asset UiTM? Bila-bila masa saya boleh berhenti daripada UiTM kan. So see, UiTM cannot control saya. Even though UiTM kata saya ada kontrak. Tapi saya boleh sendiri keluar. Kan? So UiTM don't have control over saya. That's why saya tak boleh jadi asset kepada company. Alright. Okay. So future economic benefit may arise in the sales of product or service or cost saving or renting the asset. Tak kisahlah asalkan you receive a benefit out of it. So this is a future economic benefit. So in verse 138, require entity to assess the probability of the future economic benefit using a reasonable and supportable assumption that represent management best estimate. Because again, this is an asset that we cannot see. So we estimate that we can get some benefit from this asset. Correct. How do we estimate that we can get benefit from the asset? Of course, in assessing the degree of certainty, flow for the future economic benefit, greater weight should be given to external evidence. This is a must line. We need to ask around how much people value this actually. We cannot just simply short sendiri and provide this value, right? Because it is our internal, right? So for example, I design for example, I design a new tudung, right? I think this tudung sangat cantik, and I think tudung ni boleh kalahkan design Fazura contohnya. So I want to sell it at I put a price of patent very high. Do you think people want to have this patent, want to rent this patent from me? Kan? So I need to ask around first actually. Kak nak tengok tudung saya ni cantik tak? Kak rasa value dia berapa? See, I ask around. That one is better rather than I myself do evaluation for this value. Okay. So the initial recognition, it is actually normal, right? The definition of intangible asset and the recognition of the criteria is probable, the expected future economic benefit, and the cost can be measured reliably. This is the definition of asset. Asset, you want to record asset, you need to have these two, right? Okay. recognition of subsequent expenditure. What about subsequent expenditure? All right. So most of subsequent expenditure we are going to return off, such as maintenance, nature, because the nature of intangible asset itself, such as will not be replacement part, right? So you see, the issue of subsequent measurement in MFRS 116 PPE. If we replace engine, can we make the engine as part of the cost? Can, if the performance of our asset is increased, right? So that is uh, capital expenditure. But in intangible asset, how do we determine that we can replace the things that will increase the performance of our intangible asset, right? Because we cannot even see the intangible asset. So it is the nature itself that most of subsequent expenditure will go to expenses. Okay. In addition, difficult to attribute the subsequent expenditure to particular intangible asset rather than to the business as a whole. Uh, so intangible asset is recognized as a result of separate acquisition, part of business combination, acquisition by the way of government grant, exchange of asset, internally generated in limited circumstances. So again, this is intangible asset as a result of how do we get this intangible asset? Okay, so the measurement of intangible asset initially at cost, normal initially at cost, which is separate acquisition, purchase price, and directly attributable cost. You see, this definition is quite different. It's a bit different from asset at the PPE, right? Because PPE, they have one more, cost of dismantling. Cost of dismantling, we did not apply to intangible asset because intangible asset, how do you want to dismantle, right? It is intangible. You can't even see the physical substance. So how you want to dismantling? So that's why we only have to purchase price and directly attributable expenses. Okay. Right, so this is the example, guys. So, Trinix enter into a contract to acquire franchise for healthy yogurt ice cream. Yao Yao, bersama Yao Yao, Trinix has to pay 1 million for the franchise and recipe and manufacture and sells yogurt ice cream for 5 years. So the license is for 5 years, 1 million is for 5 years. Trinix have to have a premises manufacture and sell ice cream. Like for example, Yao Yao, if you want to sell Yao Yao, you need to pay for franchise because you want to sell Yao Yao, right? Okay. So Yao Yao normally green and white color. Can you change to orange and yellow color, for example? Orange and red color, for example. You want to make a difference. You change Yao Yao to yellow and red color. Is it possible? No, right? You need to follow what the franchise stated. So therefore, need to have a premise to manufacture and sell the ice cream. So rent out the premise and the equipment and the furniture, right? Equipment and furniture are bought from the franchisor for 1.5 million. This is normal because the franchisor need to make sure you have the same concept, you have the same shop, you have the same everything because they want to control the quality, right? So it also incurred 300,000 of advertising and recruiting staff. Okay, so now out of this all, which one can we categorize as intangible asset? So 1 million, which is the franchise, can be categorized as intangible asset because this one we have a franchise. We cannot see uh we cannot see the license. Franchise is some sort like license, right? We cannot see the license, so it is intangible. We can use for 5 years. All right. Okay. So 1.5 million. The furniture and everything is 1.5 million. This one is treated under 116 because we can see it have a physical substance. Definitely, we cannot record as intangible asset. And 300,000 is go to support. 300,000 is advertising and recruiting stuff. We cannot capitalize this at all. Right. So next example. Okay, Tall Enterprise, a manufacturer of all of ladies handbag, hired a brand consultancy or agency to build up the name brand Tall Champ. Okay, for its line of handbag. The consultancy paid 20 million, 20 million to have this brand. Massive advertising and marketing strategy used to manage to capture the considerable market and hit with brand conscious lady. What does it mean by brand conscious lady? Every lady will know this brand. For example, brand conscious lady. Like for example, brand conscious lady. If you talk about apa Sephora, for example, semua perempuan tahu Sephora tu apa. For example, lelaki tak tahulah sebab dia brand conscious ladies kan. Uh, like for example, we talk about Maggi, we talk about Colgate, kan. Everyone know that one is not brand conscious lady. That one is brand conscious public. Semua orang tahu. Tu that one is different, right? For the year X13 and X14, the brand was success, and then year X15, the brand was sold to Long Enterprise for 45 million. You see, it is sold to other party at 45 million. So we know the value is 45 million. Yeah. So now 20 million, how? 20 million This expense off because this one, all right, this one is just consultancy. You want to create, you ask advice, and this one is consultancy. And value from others, 45 million, is the expenses, is the record of which MA price 138 intangible asset.